to kick off today from the Gadfly Suite. It's a great orchestral suite written for the film, the same name, in 1955, I think. I think that's when it happened. So I might play the whole thing at the end. It's such great music. And yeah, Mr. Khachaturian's conducting this performance. So it's through and through.
Historic.
It's a historic Russian offering. Yeah. So the music.
He was no, what do you call it? Armenian.
Armenian, he certainly was, Mr. Khachaturian. Yeah. He wrote some great music too. Well, perhaps we should feature him at some stage.
Like Gladys Berejiklian.
Yes, that's right. Armenian heritage. Yes, slightly different artistic qualifications there, but yes. Now, what we'll do is just to get the ball rolling and to... that record was quite a lot shorter than I thought, so I was quite a little bit off guard. But what we'll do is have a listen to something from the 20s. I think it's the Clevelanders, if I remember correctly. It's a recording from 1920 Mumble, probably 1926, 27. It's a Brunswick, and it's a track called You Gotta Know How to Love. Now, I just don't know if we're switched in. Just bear with me. There we go. We are now switched in. vk3sl. Helps if I switch this one in too. Clevelanders from 1926 or 27, thereabouts. I think it's slightly later than the Light Beam recordings made on Brunswick. It sounds a little bit more balanced in its, although it was pretty old and blasty. But there we go, a 1920s offering. And we are here on 160 metres and also on UHF, streaming online as well. There's a dedicated channel to these missions, vk3sl. Is the name of the channel, and also the heralds the blog spot. So that's the same thing. My call sign vk3sl.blogspot.com. If you want to check in and get in touch, feel free. And greetings to Mr. P, who's listening on the stream. There we go. Well, beautiful day. outstanding day, actually, and I haven't even seen any of it because I've been at the coalface since very early this morning. It's been really long today, so I feel like letting my hair down this afternoon. But, yeah, it'd be nice to play a few good tracks. And I actually wanted to go outside and set up, and I was getting organised to do that. And I think it's going to happen fairly soon, but there's a few things I've got to resolve. I've got to resolve monitoring. And if I can get a Bluetooth headphones, that would be really good. And I know that we've been talking about those excellent Bose headphones. I need to find a receiver that I can plug into the desk so I can use them at distance. I've got an infrared set of headphones, but they don't seem to cut it at the distance.
You can buy Bluetooth receivers.
Yeah.
Little dongles.
Right, yes. It'll have to be something that plugs into the desk.
Yeah, I suppose you've got to have the right insert, haven't you?
Yeah, that's right. It's just got to be able to work in with the desk, and that'll be fine.
So you need to transmit Bluetooth or receive it?
Oh, receive it, really. I've got a cable outside.
Because there are options. I've got one Mr. W, and he's got another one.
Yep.
It can be either. It's
Sure.
one or the other, depending on how it's configured.
Oh, I see.
And I think it's a set of RCAs to
Yeah.
feed it.
Okay.
That works quite well.
Line
the
level
only
or
thing,
bit
yeah, as in domestic line level.
Yep.
The only caveat is that with Bluetooth devices there is a little bit of delay.
Oh, is there?
Yeah, because of the transmission medium, it's in digital domain.
Yeah, sure.
It's not like listening to an FM set or a cable. There is a little bit of latency.
Yeah, good point. Well, I might even go down the FM set route eventually. I think latency is a problem, and I would have to. Well, it depends how bad it is. Depends what it's like. But yeah, look, that's one option. But I just need to. I don't want to have lots of cables heading outside because when it comes to summer, I'm not going to be sitting in the booth doing this every day. I'm happy to sit outside, but it's I spend half my life in this room, and I just need to be sort of just in a more positive environment, or just a varied environment, really, especially when the weather's good. So we're almost there. I've got a turntable, got the Orpheus Silex out, and I've got a preamp set up. I've got to work out I've just been looking at the preamp, and I have to get rid of the RIAA pre-emphasis on it, particularly the treble pre-emphasis, because it makes 78 sound like muffle missions. So that makes them sound terrible. So I'll have to disengage that somehow. But I haven't got a circuit, but I think I've worked out what the little network is and what to short out. So I'll do some more experimenting there.
I guess could you set yourself up with even if it's multiple cables all set up together, that you had quickly as a faux little loom into a little stage box to make that symbol where you just run that out.
Yeah.
Plug. You can colour code it all, or numerically code it, so it's just a really quick click. It's always the same.
Well, that would be good. It'd be great to do something really easy because I've got this thing that I like to be able to go on air within 5 minutes. I like to have the 5 minute threshold. Otherwise, these sort of things just take over your life, and I'm quite particular about that. And it's the way I like to do things. I'd like to be able to have, not feel duty bound or, just feel like I'm stuck thinking about it and working at all the configurations out ad nauseum. And that means I can decompartmentalize my life as much as I can.
Get these little FM transmitters.
Yeah, well, there's other options. I've got that little microphone too, which has a line input.
Yeah, and there's also I know one of the guys in the group that we know who plays with ATV. He's adopted that because he was concerned about the Bluetooth latency.
Right.
Rode now manufacture, so the Australian microphone company.
Yeah.
Manufacture little radio mics.
Yeah, I've got one here. It's fantastic.
They're tiny and they're really good, and you can use those as a remote, like the other way, as in feed a signal in, and so they're an option for that stuff as well. And there's pretty well no latency on those.
What frequency do they work on, Frank?
I think they might be 2.4 gig stuff, but they're more aimed at broadcasty type environments. They're quite good. They sound good, and
they're just a little lavalier mic. That's the one I've got. It's a little square thing.
But you can feed. I think you can feed a line source into them, can't you? And
yes, you can.
And TX that back. So
that's right. See, that'd be good.
And they run on a little rechargeable battery too, so they're kind of very remoteable and.
Yeah. See,
they might be a bit exy.
Yeah. Well, look, it's an interesting thought.
They're not. That's the good thing. Like they're not like if you go into the the real, pro broadcast domain of wireless microphones, they're much more affordable than that. They're not too bad.
Yeah,
Okay.
I bought mine
Could be
for
good.
remote teaching, and I've used it quite a bit in the past, especially the first lockdown. And I think it cost me about $300. But it's been very good, and there's no dropouts. It's
And I'm pretty sure they have a little micro SD card on board, don't they? So you can record on the transmitter side. So, like if you were using them with a camcorder arrangement for field work, I think, which is what they're designed for, you can actually record locally so that should you have a dropout, you still have the master file and you can resurrect it.
Very nice.
Yeah, it's a nice feature. They've got a lot of features, these things. And look, that might be, the idea would be just to sit outside with a turntable and have that. I just need some sort of mic switching then, maybe a tiny little mixer. All I need is 3 channels. One for the, I'm not even that phased about queuing, it's this sort of thing. It's no
big deal. Little delays don't mean a thing.
Yeah, that's right, exactly. So maybe just a tiny little, really little mixer, and just use something like that microphone thing we're talking about, the Rode as a interface.
Yeah, that's your path back. Well, with 2 of those, theoretically, and you got your little mixer locally for your little turntable and whatever else, you can basically bring all your source material in that, send it back on the one link, and have your return feed on the other. And
it sounds really good. That would be the ideal, something as simple as that, and I would be very happy. I'd be just more than content. I could sit anywhere in the yard and do it. I just like being outside. Especially when I've been in here all day. So look, there's that's what I'm thinking about at the moment.
You have to present live bird song.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, just sort of capture the sound of the yard and the happenings around, and it doesn't matter if there's a few people doing other things or someone practicing in the background. It's just a part of the experience.
Good.
So yeah, anyhow, thinking
The
ahead.
atmosphere.
So yeah, thanks for the suggestions. That's good. So I might look at the potential of that little Rode Lavalier mic, and I think it works on 2 gig and 5 gig. I think it's got 2 frequencies, so I think it's pretty, it's pretty solid. So I've had good success with it, and I just hadn't quite got my mind around how to use it outside with the. I'd probably need a second one, to be honest, to do it fully, but that's okay. That's all on the cards, and we might look at that as being a possibility. Anyhow, let's get the ball rolling with some Muzak, and there is a Hawaiian record on the table because it's sort of summerish, and I don't know, there's lots of Hawaiian records here. Let's have a listen to Lenny McIntyre and his Hawaiians and their take on La Campasita. Mr. McIntyre, these Hawaiians, and their rendition of La Compasita. Standard there with some twangy flavour, Hawaiian flavour on a Decca 78.
Just talking on the phone for a minute.
Yeah, no worries, that's fine. Yeah, anyhow, we are testing here on 160 on UHF and streaming online. The sampling 78's out of the bag. And I think on turntable 2 there's a record by Doris Day. It's a coronet, and not quite sure what year. I think it would be the early 1950s. Certainly worth a listen. vk3sl.
When I was just a little girl, I asked my mother, what will I be? Will I be pretty? Will I be rich? Here's what she said to me. Que sera, sera, whatever will be, will be. The future's not ours to see. Que sera, sera, what will be, will be. When I grew up and fell in love, I asked my sweetheart what lies ahead. Will we have rainbows day after day? Here's what my sweetheart said. Que sera, sera, whatever will be, will be. The future's not ours to see. Que sera, sera, what will be, will be. Now I have children of my own. They ask their mother, what will I be? Will I be handsome? Will I be rich? I tell them tenderly, que sera, sera, whatever will be, will be. The future's not ours to see. Que sera, sera, what will be, will be. Que sera, sera.
Standard there with Doris Day. Que sera. Now, that's not what it says on the label. I'll have to check. Yeah, it's just Que sera, yes it is. It says whatever will be is the title of the track with Frank DeVol and the orchestra, Doris Day, on its Coronet 78. And we're sampling records, and another from the same period, in fact from the year 1954. I've got an album of records here from that year. It was the year my grandfather bought his gramophone, his cabinet radiogram, his Garrard radiogram, and he just bought one album of records. That was all he ever bought, and he just played them over and over. That was the one lot. And we, as kids, we used to have to wait for him to turn it on. We were never allowed to use the equipment ourselves. We were never allowed to turn the TV on. He was a bit of a control freak. And we had to sit there and wait for him to be ready. So we'd sit there, cross-legged next to the big speaker, the big roller, and we'd wait for him to, when in his time, to come in. And there was a certain theatrical element to switching things on, where the switch went click. Anyway, they put the record onto the multi-change and the stabilizer on, and then there'd be that little switch at the side. It would go click, click. The turntable would spin and the record would drop onto the platter. The needle would come across, and then the magic would happen. vk3sl.
Wine and candlelight, and an orchid for my lady. Atmosphere just right for my lovely lady fair. Such a rare perfume from the orchid for my lady. Such a lonely room with no lovely lady there. Hour by hour, my eager hopes keep fading. So did the flower, but what did my lady care? Have you ever sat alone with an orchid for your lady, when your heart has known it was one she'd never wear? Hour by hour, my eager hopes keep fading. So did the flower, but what did my lady care? Have you ever sat alone with an orchid for your lady, when your heart has known it was one she'd never wear? When your heart has known the lady didn't care.
Johnny Ray.
Haven't heard that.
Yeah. The other side's probably the well-known one. I'll just check and see what it is. It's a Philips 78. As Time Goes By, of course. That was a big song, wasn't it? From
Oh yeah,
from
big
Casablanca.
song. I don't know whether it was big for him though.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. It's a little bit muffle missions, that one. I think the needle needs a bit of a clean. I think, yes. I think As Time Goes By, if I remember correctly, this sounds like it's sung in a bathroom, as are a lot of Johnny Ray's. Oh, we could have the bathroom experience. I'll just have to give the needle a clean. It's a bit gummed up. And incidentally, we're playing some recordings from the year 1954. I can say that definitively. Yes.
There's your bathroom experience.
Yes, that's right. Very good. Yeah, you got the right bit of vocal ambience on that. Very nice. I'm just getting a little bit of...
It's a little trick I used to do at work, and I crossed the talk back, and it was funny because there was one shoot we were doing for the education department long ago, and they were doing some science stuff, and they had a bathtub on set full of water, and during a rehearsal I was doing that, and then it was funny watching the staging guys looking around under the bathtub looking for the leak.
They're looking for the leak. Very good. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. You tricked them all. All right. That's great. Well, anyhow, we're sampling this album of records. It's one of those sort of 50s album, and it's inside the cover in my grandfather's beautiful copper plate writing. He's written every track in, and this was the album that I first heard. These would be the very first 78s I ever heard as a young kid. And yes, the radiogram still exists. It's in my folks' garage. One day we'll drag it out. And yeah, but it brings back strong memories because I used to glue my ear to that roller speaker and, yes, imagine that these artists were somehow behind the veil. It was, magical. So here we have the other side of that Philips record. As Time Goes By from Casablanca. I'll give them the stylus a clean and we are ready to go, I think. vk3sl testing.
You must remember this. A kiss is still a kiss. A sigh is just a sigh. The fundamental things apply as time goes by. And when two lovers woo, they still say I love you. On that you can rely. No matter what the future brings as time goes by. sounds, they're never out of date. Hearts full of passion, jealousy and hate. Woman needs man, and a man must have his mate. No one can deny. It's still the same old story, a fight for love and glory, a case of do or die. The world will always welcome lovers as time goes by. It's still the same old story, a fight for love and glory, a case of do or die. The world will always welcome lovers as time goes by.
Judicious fade on his last note there, just before he ran out of steam.
He did all right.
He did okay. He did very well. Mr. Ray. Johnny Ray, and he didn't cry. I thought he might.
He cried. He stopped crying a long time ago. he cried his last and realised there was no more money in crying. He get another gimmick.
Yes, that's right. He had to think of something else. Yeah, Johnny Ray, 1954. I can date that one because I know the year this album was bought. And there may have been hits slightly earlier than that, but there we go. Phillips, 78. A little bit muffle missions. I think the record must be deteriorated. It looks in good condition, but sometimes they get little microorganisms and things start to eat away at the grooves. And yeah, it's the way it is with this one. And another one from the same album is
a new form of life growing in the record.
Yes, often happens with Edison cylinders, and they literally get eaten. The wax just gets eaten, so they become sort of wrecked. Totally. I saw at the Antique Centre a rare Pathé cylinder. And, rare as hen's teeth, only a handful in the world, but it just been completely eaten by mould. So nothing would be retractable from it at all.
That's a real shame,
A
isn't
real
it?
pity. Yeah, brown wax from about 1898. Such a rarity. Never mind, things turn up. But in this instance, we've got another record from the same batch. It's Frank Sinatra, and it's a classic of his. I've got The World on a String. vk3sl. Testing.
I've got the world on a string, sitting on a rainbow. Got the string around my finger. What a world, what a life, I'm in love. I got a song that I sing, I can make the rain go anytime I move my finger. Lucky me, can't you see I'm in love? Life is a beautiful thing, as long as I hold the string. I'd be a silly so-and-so if I should ever let it go. I got the world on a string, sitting on a rainbow. Got the string around my finger. what a world, what a life. I'm in love. Life is a beautiful thing. As long as I hold the string, I'd be a silly so-and-so if I should ever let it go. I got the world on a string, sitting on a rainbow. Got the string around my finger. What a world. Man, this is a life. Hey now, I'm so in love.
Oh, well, there we go. That has to be one of the great recordings of that time. Yeah, Sinatra's.
It was the orchestra.
Oh, it's Nelson
Riddle.
Yeah, it was. Sinatra's just never sounds so good. It was his
I
golden.
totally agree.
Yeah, he's just complete on top of his game. He's on fire, and it's just a fantastic track. Yeah, so I've even found the Garrard automatic record changer instruction manual stuck inside. Yes, yes, it's all here. So I can learn how to stack the records and lift them onto the spindle.
I used to marvel at that when I was a kid.
Yeah, mechanical marvels, they certainly are.
I know. That's incredible. I used to worry about damaging discs, but it never happened.
No, they must have worked it all out. They would have had an R&D department, and they would have done lots of broken lots of 78s, getting the right height and weight ratios, and the springs would have to be such that nothing fell too heavily on the because they were very lightly sprung. That was a part of the enterprise, I think, was to have good compliance. And there's even a Garrard stylus pressure gauge, just so you can get the stylus pressure exactly as it should be with your Ronette cartridge.
That's right, there was a bit more pressure than was later required with the big little magnetics.
Yes, that's right. And so of course, modern styling have very little pressure at all, and we can get away with having a very lightweight pickup.
I think I tracked on 1 gram with the Shaw V15.
Yes, that'd be right. Yeah, I track slightly heavier because a lot of these old recordings are a bit, they're a bit...
Need to dig in a little bit.
Yes, I think so. You need a little bit of
particularly if the turntables aren't, or rather if the records aren't perfectly flat too, if they've got a little bit of wave on them, you
that's
need a bit more
certainly the
pressure
case.
to keep the needle intact, otherwise it goes flying off.
It's funny you say
right.
that.
Not a good look.
Well, one of the records yesterday was really, I think it'd been wet, and it was really warped. You couldn't really tell. It played quite well, but the thing was bouncing all over the place, and it's amazing that it played. And I think that's the beauty of having a really long tone arm. So the tone arms on these are all 16-inch.
More force to push it up and out.
So it tends to ride.
You know the trick of putting them between 2 bits of glass in the sun.
Yeah, that works with vinyl.
I guess probably the older doesn't.
Oh, look, it can work with 78s, but it tends to, you've got to be very careful. If you put too much weight on them, it tends to glaze the surface, and the grooves can be compromised.
This copy of Kind of Blue that I bought, I lent to somebody, and he left it, it was in his car, and it got into the sun.
Oh.
And it went for a buckle.
Oh, no.
And I didn't know what to do. So Mum suggested, why don't we give it an iron with the...
Whoops. Yes, not the best idea, but never mind. All good intentions.
We didn't have 2 pieces of flat glass, you see.
Okay.
What did we think of it? But
that's so sort of innocent, isn't it? Just give it an iron. Whoops.
It's good at flattening things.
Yes, that's right. Yes, makes sense. Yeah, but vinyl is vinyl. Yeah. Well.
Vinyl for the vinyl.
Yes. Well, here we go. Another one. Another roller coaster. Perry Como. And I think it is Look Out the Window and See How I'm Standing in the Rain. These records really bring back memories because I just heard them all the time when I was a young kid. Haven't heard them for years, especially this one.
I come to serenade you beneath your window pane. The wind is blowing like a hurricane. Oh, look out the window and see how I'm standing in the rain. My friends Jose and Pedro are waiting in the wagon. They know that love is driving me insane.
Oh, look out the window and see how I'm standing in the rain.
I love you, I'd lay down my life. I really mean the words I sing in each refrain. Oh, look out the window,
Look out the window and see how I'm standing in the rain. Bum, 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 bum.
I saw you at the bullfight, you thrilled him up the doors, and from your dainty shoe they drank champagne. I know I'm no hero, but look how I'm standing in the rain. I'm so afraid that lightning may strike my steel guitar. Why can't we fly away to sunny Spain?
Oh, look out the window and see how I'm standing in the rain.
My heart seems to pump like a wild jungle drum. My head is spinning like your father's weather vane. Oh, look out the window, look
Out the window and see how I'm standing in the rain.
I love you. That's
Why I serenade you in the
Hits of 1954, Perry Como, and look how I'm standing in the rain. Oh, I remember that record. Yeah, so there we go. Of the year, and I'm not sure if they actually were the hits of that year. Probably, he probably got them as a complimentary batch when he purchased the gramophone, and they were probably the records that they couldn't sell anywhere else. But never mind. They are catchy tunes. Well, the Sinatra one certainly is a big hit. Now, on the another one from the same batch is...
answered another phone.
Oh, yeah, it's fine. It's fine. Is another record I played the other day, and I just, do like this song for some reason. It just does it for me. And again, this is an ancient memory, a formative experience, and I don't know. I think I'm regressing a bit today. Who cares? vk3sl.
Oh baby mine, oh baby mine, oh baby mine, oh baby mine.
I get so lonely when I dream about you. Can't do without you. That's why I dream about you. If I could only put my arms about you, life would be so fair.
If you were there,
We two could hug and kiss and never tire. I'm on fire. You are my one desire. I get so lonely when I dream about you. Why can't you be there? Tossing and turning in my slumber,
baby more,
holding you it seems.
oh baby,
I give you kisses without number, but only in my dreams.
oh baby mine.
I get so lonely when I dream about you. Can't do without you. That's why I dream about you. If I could only put my arms about you, life would be so fair. Tossing and turning in my slumber,
Baby,
holding you it seems.
oh baby,
I give you kisses without number, but only in my dreams.
oh baby mine.
I get so lonely when I dream about about you. Can't do without you. That's why I dream about you. If I could only put my arms about you, life would be so fair.
Oh, baby mine.
Life would be so fair.
Oh, baby mine.
Life would be so fair.
That was the Four Ralph Knights and a hit, well, supposedly a hit from
Was.
1954. Was a hit? Yes.
It was a hit.
Oh.
What's on the other side?
I will do a flip-o-matic. I'll just wait, I'll lean over. It's the other side of the room. It's turntable 2. It's a long way away. Here we go. I Couldn't Stay Away From You is side B.
Oh, I didn't know that one. I knew Baby Mine
Yeah, sure. Yeah,
was definitely the hit side.
that was the hit side.
A side.
Yeah. Now, the next record, you will know. In fact, anyone who has some interest in or knowledge of that era will know this record because Mr. Trennett had one big hit, one super big hit, and, well, the rest of it, I don't know what else he did, but this one certainly got the big tick. Hey, what's happened? I'm not engaged. That was supposed to be a segue. Here we go. Take 2.
La mer qu'on voit danser le long des golfes clairs a des reflets d'argent. La mer, des reflets changeants sous la pluie. La mer au ciel d'été confond ces blancs moutons avec les anges si purs. La mer, bergère d'azur infinie. Voyez, près des étangs, ces grands roseaux mouillés. Voyez, ces oiseaux blancs et ces maisons rouillées. La mer les a bercés le long des golfes clairs et d'une chanson d'amour. La mer a bercé mon cœur pour la vie. La mer qu'on voit danser le long des golfes clairs a des reflets d'argent. La mer, des reflets changeants sous la pluie. La mer, au ciel d'été, confond ces blancs moutons avec les anges si purs. La mer, bergère d'azur infinie. Voyez, près des étangs, ces grands roseaux mouillés. Voyez, ces oiseaux blancs et ces maisons rouillées. La mer, elle les a bercés le long des golfes clairs et d'une chanson d'amour. La mer a bercé mon cœur pour la vie.
if you look up on YT, you'll see recordings of Charles Trenet singing La Mer in 1954, 55, 56, 57, 58, all the way through to the 1980s. He sang it every year, every month.
Did he? I first heard it in 54.
You did? Really?
Well, what a beautiful song.
Oh, it's a great song.
It changed my mind.
Yeah. No, it's beautiful. It's but he lived with that piece. It was his companion for life. And there are passionate performances of him in the 1980s, might even be in the 1990s, still going strong, singing La Mer. So, yeah, I like the chords.
I remember my parents used to play off vinyl a version of that, a German version. I can't remember who the artist was, but...
Sure.
And yeah, and Das Meer, because the word's the same word in German, Meer.
Yes, okay.
So, it sounds very, very similar.
Oh,
Sounds good. It's just a really good song.
We should look it up, see if there's a German version. I'd like to hear it. This has gone to sleep. One momento. We'll have to check on this, because I think Das Meer, let's see. Das Meer, it's probably spelt differently though. Anyhow. Give it a go. And see, La Mer, Das Meer, Charles, is in list of Charles Trenet every year. He's still coming up strong.
Yeah, it might be, because it might be spelled in German,
Der Meer?
ER or something, but it's pronounced Meer even.
Yeah,
but
sure. I'll have to go and sample them and find something, because it's mixed up with a million other performances, and we'll only find ourselves going around in circles here. Oh, here we go. Peter Alexander, Das Meer, La Mer.
Yeah, he's one of the artists I used to listen to all the
Oh,
time.
right.
He was one of those real, the old sort of hit parade type singers that
brilliant.
featured on a lot of the records I used to listen to.
Sounds
let's
good.
hear it.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to hear this. Here we go. I think we found the track. Let's listen to Das Meer, VK3sl, Peter Alexander and his orchestra.
Das Meer wiegt sich im Tanz und rauscht hin zu dem Strand, zu seinem ewigen Ziel, das Meer, dort wie im Spiel hinzugleiten. Das Meer funkelt im Glanz der Nacht wie ein Diamant, spiegelt des Himmels Dom das Meer im endlosen Strom der Gezeiten. Wie schön ist diese Nacht, das Meer, man hört es kaum. Man ahnt nur seine Macht, die Welt ist wie ein Traum. Das Meer, Ebbe und Flut, es bleibt böse und gut. So wird es immer sein. Das Meer, es gibt und es nimmt wie das Leben. Das Meer wiegt sich im Tanz und rauscht hin zu dem Strand. Wild wild und auch sanft zugleich. Das Meer hat uns so viel schon gegeben. Ewiges Auf und Ab, wie das
Wunderbar.
Wonderful indeed.
Yeah, Peter Alexander, he knew how to...
Yeah, he was their version. He was
connect.
their version of, a real crooner.
Certainly is. And
They did a very good job.
he certainly did. And he had an interesting background. What was going on there with early synths? It sounded like a cascade of shimmering sort of synthesized sounds. Yeah, maybe it was a...
No, it was the 50s. Was it? When was it done?
I reckon it might have been 70s.
Yeah, I reckon it's later. I reckon it's the 70s, maybe even 80s.
Yeah.
It'll be a lot later, yeah.
It's from a later generation, but look, he captured the mood, and
He certainly did.
yeah, good singer, lovely grain in his voice. So yeah, we'll look out for Peter Alexander. Wonder what else he did. But
Stacks of stuff. They had records and records of him.
Did they?
There might still be some there somewhere. I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe.
maybe. All right. Well, look, I'm going to use this as a segue to go back and play the other side of that record we heard yesterday, that Swedish disc. I was quite intrigued to find a Swedish record amongst the lot here, and it's Sigurd Agrens and the Dragspel Orchestra.
Say Sigur Rós for a minute.
Sigurd Agrens.
They're a sort of current kind of band, but yeah, okay.
I had to spell it out phonetically because I can't read it. And it's the Gammelmore's Valse. So I assume it's a waltz, and I think it's sort of accordion music. But look, it's very flavoursome. It's from the 30s. And I believe it's a Swedish record, that's for sure. So whether or not it's a German band on the Swedish disc, I don't know. But anyhow, it's a rarity, and I was pleased to see it in the batch. Let's listen to this side. pleasant's that?
That was called a
Sick.
Lendler.
Ah, Lendler.
Dance.
Right. Very good.
So the piano accordion was getting a workout there.
They were.
Certainly were. Didn't miss
Yeah.
a note.
Something like a bit of punk
I
chord
used
music.
to listen to the Swiss broadcasting service in the 50s mumble.
Yeah.
11 o'clock on a Friday night, and they had a lovely program of Swiss dance music.
Right.
And that's how I know all about Lendlers. They're 3-4 time,
Yes.
but with exactly that rhythm and that, and always the little stops after every 8 bars.
Oh, very good. Oh, thank you for that. That's great. Oh, wow. That's a formative experience listening to that program on shortwave.
Look, it was I used to love listening to shortwave.
Yeah.
As you know and
Yes.
understand.
Oh, totally. Oh, that's brilliant. I love hearing about the wireless listens from way back. It's really captivating.
It really took me back. They all sort of sound very similar.
Yes, they are. It's just got a nice, slight palm court feel to it.
Yeah, exactly right.
Oh, look, I'd love to play in a group like that. I think it would be so much fun. And I like the little xylophone obligato on top, and it just it has a real sort of feel-good dimension about it, doesn't it?
It does. It's a slightly almost rural feel to it, or sort of not really rural, but or amateurish, but not complicated.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's got a slight folksy edge to it as well.
Folksy, that's the best word.
Yeah. Oh, very good. Well, thank you. That's a great memory, and I hope there's more. I look forward to discovering some more. I'd like to hear more of this sort of thing. So, there we have it. All right. Oh, I have to say, this is an alert to anyone who's interested in silent films. There's been. I went on to Nitrateville last night, which is a forum dedicated to silent cinema and early cinema, and they have found, drum roll, wait for it, some sequences with Theda Bara in Salome. She was the first real sex symbol, first femme fatale figure. She was the most extraordinary actress, but nearly all her films are lost. She stopped making films in 1926. But she just had this magnetic effect on audiences, and she was the first really big sex symbol. And nearly all the films are gone, so there's very little to judge her by. Amazing stills of her. She's a very, very erotic woman. And
so hot she set the nitro on fire.
Yeah, that's right, exactly. That's probably why her films have all gone. But she had huge eyes, and she just had this way of just drawing you into her world. And she was, Theda Bara was a stage name, but they sort of promoted her as an Egyptian-born occult exotic person, eh? And but look, this snippet, they've got snippets turned up of Salome from 1918, and now when she brings John the Baptist's head on the plate and seduces him, Dance of the Seven Veils and all of that, and there's sort of sequences of all of that. Just little snippets have been found, and it's got the silent film fraternity just in a frenzy, because now we're able to see what she was like on stage. So it's an exciting discovery. It's really, in this day and age, to find silent material of that ilk is just unheard of. So, it was rumoured to exist for the last 20 years, but no one saw it and people gave up. And recently it's been put up on the tube. So I refer that to the listeners. If you'd like to look up Theda Bara and look up Salome, there is some astonishing footage of her, and she is just the vamp to be reckoned with. So there we go. That's my little non-advertisement for something that's taken my fancy. Now we're going to go for a gear change at this point, because we've been playing quite a bit of Mr. Brubeck lately, and I received a couple of emails this morning from Mr. Fleming. And he has been enjoying the Dave Brubeck and asked if we play another one of his asymmetric works. And this one is the Unsquare Dance. So,
I was going to play that tonight.
Ah, right. Oh, we can play it tonight as well.
No. Yeah, we'll play it tonight as well.
Yeah.
It's good. It's in 7/4 time.
Yep. Very good. Excellent. All right. Well, this can be a sort of a...
That man only comes back into alignment every 28 bars.
Yes.
Very good.
Yes.
The only way I can sort of handle it is to count 4 and then 3.
Yes. Okay. Interesting. Well, I think you can probably...
Or can you play your true 8 notes to the bar and drop one?
Hard to subtract.
It's easier to work in some sort of
Yeah.
quasi-symmetrical pattern to give it a. Otherwise, you can easily lose your place.
There's a lot of. It's interesting. I watched the odd analysis, where a classical composer analyses, modern stuff or particularly metal stuff, and one of the drummers who lots of variable, different time signatures is Danny Carey of Tool, and even some of the classical composers when they're listening to him, that you can see how they struggle, and they do exactly what you're saying. They try to break it down into lots of 3 or 4 and 3, and because his patterns are so, and they change. It's interesting. I struggle with it, but it's
interesting. It's fascinating stuff. I mean, look, it's a complicated business the whole way we experience rhythm, and
even five beats to the bar, I do much better doing the 3 and 2.
Our brains need some sort of order, and it can be quite a tension. Of course, that's the object of it all, is to create a sense of tension and something a bit unsettling. Sort
of very unsettling till you get a way of handling it.
Yeah, that's right. So it sort of puts you into a form. A state of reorganisation, I suppose, or something. But we all have different ways of interpreting these things. Well, let's have a listen to Unsquare Dance, and it's a Dave Brubeck special, and we will feature it again tonight. And I'm looking forward to, Frank, you're assembling a few Brubeck tracks for tonight. Is that okay?
Absolutely.
Fabulous. That'll be good. So this will lead us in to a late night special, vk3sl. Unsquare Dance. Well, there we go. How did it work for you?
It's okay once you learn how to do it.
Yeah.
Good. I mean, you can enjoy the music.
That's right. Oh, look, it's fairly contained, to be honest. It's very accessible.
Yes.
But brilliant stuff.
Little allusions to square dancing. The end there, especially.
Yes. That's true.
Learn to square dance.
That's it.
You had to do it in primary school.
Oh, square dancing, the girl with the wet hands.
Yeah, I know. They all had wet hands. That was before I realised that girls were worth keeping around.
Yes, that experience. Yeah, so there we go, folks. Tonight we'll be featuring some definitely, well, might even have some of Time Out, some of Brubeck's.
I think you've got to do that. That was his sort of signature. That really got him going.
Yeah, for sure. And I've got the CD here actually somewhere, but we can probably just get it all off the tube.
Oh, good. That'd be good. Oh,
Yeah. Well, yes, I'm a bit nervous about playing CDs here, but we'll see how we go. But we also got it on YouTube. It's all there. It's we've got access, and I've got some 45s of him as well, so we can sample a few of those. Now that reminded me of some of the phase music. Just taking that one step further. Remember the clapping music by Steve Reich?
Yeah, I do.
I wouldn't impose this on the listeners in its entirety, but we can listen to a little bit of it. Just to
give a flavour to the listener.
Yeah, actually, it's not that long. We can hear just a bit of it. Here we go. We'll just hear a bit. Well, this is a 2-minute segment of this rather long and complex work, but it's all about sort of moving in and out of phase and causing and giving all of these rhythmically differentiated points of departure. And it's quite alluring and very, very hypnotic. Let's have a sample of the music of Steve Reich. It always astonishes me how people can time align themselves and play with that level of acuity.
No, it's amazing.
It really is. And something so simple as clapping, but really keeping that crystal locked.
Although, if you have a looper, you only have to do it for a very short time.
Yes, that's true. That's true. Then you just... but I think it's that remarkable concentration. There's a recording out there of someone playing the piano phase on their own with one hand on each piano.
Good heavens.
Which is something that's...
How do you do that?
I just don't know how it would be possible. I'll give...
You have to be split your mind.
You have to be a schizoid, I think.
I think you would be.
You'd have to.
Which is called split personality.
Yeah, you'd have to be. I'll play a little bit of the piano phase just to sort of tie up this theme, because it is interesting. I mean, I'm not a great advocate of minimalist music.
I'll play with this when I get my looper.
Yeah, and it's just fascinating, just that very, very micro offset, how it creates all these sub-rhythms. Now, brain, of course, wants to reorganise things, and it becomes quite an interesting engagement. So we'll hear a little bit of Mr. Reich's piano phase, vk3sl. And in 10 minutes you'll be on Alpha Centauri. It just is it's hypnotic. It takes you on a journey into the unknown. The music of Steve Reich, just a sample of his piano phase. Now there is a dude who does it on his own, which I just don't know how this can happen. But just have it's a concert actually. 2 grand pianos. He's got one hand on each. The pianos are in Y formation, and he is somehow managing to work this piece. I'll just play a short sample, and you can get some idea of how it sounds live. I might just jump ahead a bit because there's an audience event. Probably sounds just the same as the other one, but I have to say that's one of the most astonishing things I've ever witnessed.
I don't know. I just because I can't see how anyone could do that.
Yeah, and it just beggars disbelief, to be honest. Just how he is just standing there, still as anything, and one hand on one piano, out in the Y formation, and he's just playing these phase effects and maintaining his internal pulse.
You have to compartmentalise your brain.
You'd have to be in a trance state, I think.
I think you would too, but you'd have to be able to sort of not. I don't know. I think of two things. I don't understand it.
Yeah, I think it would have to all be somehow just in your muscle memory, and it's sort of integrated to the point where you just
not thinking at all.
Not thinking at all. Exactly. You'd be in some sort of Zen zone. You'd have to be, because if you thought, you'd trip over yourself. I know that, just as an instrumentalist myself, any hard passage, if you think too much, it all falls apart.
Yep.
You've got to transcend the piece. You've got to get to the point where you just trust your fingers are going to do fast stuff. And you sort of chunk the music. You think of sort of launch points and spasms, if you will. And, but to play something really long like that and just maintain this constant pulse and with the finest degrees of offsets, and hearing, and just it would be so distracting hearing all those sub themes. You'd be wanting to latch onto them. I found myself just then, more so than the first version actually, latching onto some of those the effects of
what you get when you hear the two at once.
Yeah, they sort of beat against each other.
Yeah, that's your frame of reference, isn't it?
Yeah, it's totally extraordinary stuff. So anyhow, there we go. There was a bit of Steve Reich. That was an interesting little segue, little journey, wasn't it? Going from.
I reckon it'd be interesting. The concept is interesting, but I reckon it'd sound more musically interesting if you did, instead of doing those notes, if you did the pentatonic scale.
Yeah, sure. I think so. There are other versions. There are phasing works for orchestras. There's a piece for 18 musicians, which is similar, and that's got more colour to it. But I think the whole idea is to keep it quite bland, and the minimalist intent is to sort of just anaesthetise the audience effectively.
Yes, so, but it'd be nice to have a situation where the harmonic where the notes that you get are harmonically related to each other in a musical way.
Yes, I know what you mean. Yes, it sort of lacks that some sort of musical essence of that kind. Yeah, it's Spartan.
More cohesive, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, interesting.
Anyway, I'm going to try it when I get the stuff.
Yeah, when you get your loop, it'd be very interesting. Yeah, and you just move a semi-quaver off, and you just keep sort of phasing it through, and eventually.
Yeah, it's very easy to do.
Yeah, that's right. And
the concept is great.
Yeah, totally. And then eventually it just finds it's back to its medium again, which is pretty amazing. Yeah, so here we go. Well, what's the time, folks? No, I probably should go inside soon. I was going to play the entire Gadfly, actually. And so we'll go with a program tonight of Dave Brubeck's music at the start when we meet up around about midnight or a bit before, and then we'll find a theme. I'll think up something a bit later on to riff on for the classical component.
I've got a box set of 4 Brubeck CDs,
right?
Which is his selection of among his career or within his career of what he thought were the best things he did.
Oh, very good. I look forward to it. That'd be great.
If I can find a book came with it, which outlines everything, but I'm not sure I can find the book.
Okay. Yeah, it'd be good to hear. So, folks, if you enjoy a bit of jazz, how would you describe his type of jazz? Would you call it? It's not really bop, is it? It's
no.
It's a. I don't know. It's hard to put things into categories.
Of its time, it's to some extent it's experimental. The time stuff was experimental in its day.
Yeah, it certainly was. And but it's a unique flavour, and he's is one of the most important figures, jazz musicians of all time, really.
His greatest assets was Paul Desmond, actually.
Sure.
In terms of the quartet, he was a wonderful sax player,
great
alto player.
Yeah, well, he certainly knew how to exploit and bring the best out of the musicians he worked with, and that's a supreme gift in itself.
Totally, yeah. No, I'm not minimising Dave's. But Paul, it's actually Paul who wrote Take 5.
Oh, really? Okay, I wasn't aware of that.
I know not many people are.
Yeah, all right. Oh, look, I'll tell you what, I've got Take 5 in my hand.
He's going to play that too.
I might as well. We'll play it tonight as well, but I've got it here. It's right
You've got to play Take 5 in a Brubeck thing.
You have to. It's got to get a Guernsey, but I've got the 45 here, and we're talking about Dave Brubeck, and this will get everyone will be keen to tune in now. You see, we've got everyone.
A big promo happening.
Yeah, that's right. We've certainly brought the topic to the fore. So we'll do I look forward to it actually, because I really don't know a lot about Brubeck, and it'll be a journey of discovery for me. But I do know this record very well. I grew up with it, and it's a 45. It's a Coronet, and I'm just switching things in as I speak, and I think we're ready to go. But yeah, let's have a listen to the famous Take 5. Well, that doesn't need any introduction at all, and we invite you to tune in late tonight on 160 and on UHF. We're sticking with UHF now, and we'll have 438.725 as our go-to place for missions through and through, as is 1865 kilohertz, and streaming online as well. So yeah, that'll be good. Look forward to a night of Brubeck, and we'll sample a few other things afterwards. We'll find a journey to embark on. Yay! And so what I'll do now is just queue up the Gadfly. Now, people might be wondering why I did put out a call for radio plays and things a few weeks ago, and I'm keen to do it at some stage, but the thing is I've got to try and sort it out in a way where I can listen to them. What's tended to happen at the end of the missions is that I get sort of busy and I put things on in the background, but I don't. It's not so easy to hear the detail. Wasn't so bad with the Thunderbirds because I sort of knew, but I want to be able to enjoy them. So we'll just see how things go, and maybe as the summer season evolves, we'll be able to do that. But I'd like to be able to immerse myself in the plays. So that's the thought behind all of that. But it will happen, and I'm really pleased to have some some suggestions on the cards. So, what we'll do is...
I think I might have mentioned it. There's a series that doesn't sound very good. It's called Address Unknown,
Yeah.
which is from the Missing Persons Bureau, and they are really interesting, true stories.
Yeah, Address Unknown. Okay.
And I think Jamie's got a lot of them.
Yeah, good.
They are really interesting, by and large, really interesting stories.
Oh, thank you for that. That'll be great. That's all. It ticks the OTR box as well.
Made in Sydney.
Yeah. Oh, great. Address Unknown. Now, I think we had access to a few of them. I played one or two, so I'm aware of the format. But I'd love to find a significant archive of them, because that would be good to play. Well,
A lot of them.
yeah, that would be good. Excellent. Thank you. Well,
What do you
definitely.
think, anyway? Maybe they wouldn't appeal to you.
Well, they certainly appeal to me.
They're good human interest stuff.
Yeah.
It's not The Shadow or anything like that.
Sure. No, that'd be good. I'd very much like to hear them. It's just, this time slot is now sort of turning into, a lot of other responsibilities are bestowed upon me, so it's just getting harder for me to immerse myself. But look, we'll work out something for sure. And thank you for that. That's really good. Now I'm going to play the USSR Cinema Symphony Orchestra with Mr. Khachaturian at the baton, and it's the Gadfly Suite, Opus 97A by Shostakovich from the film, the same name.
I'll just say good evening to the listener and to
Yeah.
everyone and drop off.
Okay.
VK3JR is closing down.
No worries.
Saying good evening.
Yeah, thank you, Frank. Thanks as always, and thank you, Frank
Cheers.
OP.
Yeah, have a good evening.
Yeah, you too. Yeah, thank you. And thanks. I've got to thank you for that picture of Les Paul. Great picture of Les Paul and Eddie Van Halen. Giving each other.
Yeah, because it came up in my feed because he passed away a year ago, and
Yes.
and apparently they were good friends, and I
fabulous.
kind of like that, because you're talking the other day about that generational passing of the baton and all that. And,
Yeah, sure.
And it's a great pick of the two of them.
It's a
I
fantastic.
love that. That's great to hear.
Yeah, it's really special. They're so happy. They're so sort of, it's an infectious, closeness they have. It's great. Yeah, so thank you for sharing that. That's it's nice to hear about. Okay, well, we'll queue up this LP and we'll let this ride for the next half an hour or so, and we'll look forward to your company later on. And I should also just mention something I should mention more often, and that is that if you are listening on UHF and you want the full experience, you can go to the data input on your radio. Most radios made in the last 20 years will have a data input, and all you need to do is check in the manual, get an adapter plug, or make an adapter plug and plug it into the data, and then you can extract the audio, the receive audio from that, and it's really Fi. These missions are coming out in pretty good Fi, and it's well worth the experience if you want to hear it in all of its glory. So it's not that hard to do. You just need an amplified speaker or a desk or something to plug it into, and you can enjoy it so more fully than through the choked audio of a standard receiver. So yeah, just a bit of worldly advice there, and I'll mention it more often because I think it encourages people to make that small adaptation. It's not difficult. So here we go, Shostakovich, the Gadfly Suite, Opus 97A, and there's about 10 different movements. It goes through a bit, and but some are more animated than others, but it's a fabulous piece. And yes, Mr. Shostakovich wrote film music as well as big symphonies and string quartets. And all we do is queue up, and we're on. VK3sl saying cheers for now. Look forward to your company later on. vk3sl testing. Been listening to the music of Shostakovich, selection from the Gadfly Suite, Opus 97. We just heard the first of that series, a recording made in 1962, and we'll continue and hear the other items from the suite. Another night, I think, we might at this point, so encourage you to listen in later tonight at 11:30. We do further missions, test missions on 160 and on UHF. Also, we stream as well. So, look forward to your company later on. This is vk3sl saying cheers for now. And good night to you.